In the United Kingdom, the agency that investigates white-collar crime like bribery is called the Serious Fraud Office, the SFO. And that's where David Lee and Peter Gardner went next. The director of the SFO was Robert Wardle.
Sort of unusual that a journalist comes in to talk to a prosecutor about what evidence...
Well, he had his story at that stage, and he printed it. And having discussed it with him and seen what evidence he had, I took the view that there was sufficient to justify a suspicion that an offence may have taken place. And we began the process of requiring the company to provide us with information and documents.
And the investigation began to grow, and it was proceeding reasonably smoothly, although it was a very difficult one.
Prosecutor Helen Garlick supervised what would become the first investigation in the United Kingdom of overseas bribery.
The allegation was improper expenses that appeared to have been paid by British Aerospace through the medium of this small company run by Peter Gardner.
As the prosecutors dug through thousands of BAE documents and bank records, they confirmed Peter Gardner's story. And that wasn't all.
How would you describe the original allegations, the Gardner services, to what you found in the end?
They were a drop in the ocean. I think that would be a fair way of describing them.
Over 60 million pounds, over $100 million was a drop in the ocean.
Yes, relative to the amounts of money that we were dealing with here.
So we were talking about billions of dollars.
Yes.
In the mass of documents and accounts, Helen Garlick's team made another startling discovery. Some of the money from the Al Yamama account, around $2 billion, had been sent to Washington, D.C., into the Saudi Ministry of Defense bank accounts controlled by the man who is credited with making the Al Yamama deal, Prince Bandar bin Sultan.
As much as $2 billion went to accounts under the control of Prince Bandar bin Sultan in Washington. It's hard for me to believe that you didn't have a reaction when you found out how much money was going west.
The value of the Al Yamama contract itself was astronomical. It all becomes slightly relative when you're talking about such vast sums of money.
As part of that $2 billion, funds were sent to support the crew and the fuel for a wide-body Airbus 340.
BAE admit that they made a gift of a brand new Airbus to Prince Bandar, which he had painted in the blue and silver colours of the Dallas Cowboys, his favourite team, and has used ever since to fly around the world.
And the British investigators also uncovered a complicated web of intermediaries and front companies.
They also discovered there was a special separate offshore arrangement registered in the British Virgin Islands, which was paying billions of dollars to Swiss bank accounts.
British investigators suspected that those Swiss accounts may have benefited the man who signed the deal, Prince Bandar's father, Crown Prince Sultan, and his business associates.
We believed that we could show, if we got access to the Swiss accounts, whether or not a crime had continued to be committed right up until the present day.
You had evidence already that there were crimes that had been committed?
Yes.
And as I said, this story started on